Hello again. My name is Michael Paul Hurd. I am the owner of Lineage Independent Publishing and author of my Lineage series of historical fiction novels. Welcome to the fifth episode of my series. In this podcast, I am going to talk about The Seventh Wife, Lineage Series, Book 5. The latest edition of the book was published in late 2021. This podcast is recorded, but I still invite you to ask questions or make comments in the appropriate interface on Facebook, YouTube, or Substack, and I will respond as soon as possible. I could have waited to make this book the seventh in this series to coincide with the title, but I decided against it because at the time I was interested in researching my family's ancestral connection to the Tudors and the courts of Kings Henry VII and Henry VIII. Through my research, I discovered that Sir Thomas, Lord Bridgenorth Hoard, believed to be my 16th great-grandfather, was Attorney General to Henry VII and probably continued service into the court of Henry VIII, with their descendants maintaining close ties to the crown through the reign of Charles II, who is featured in my upcoming 11th novel, Take the Long Way Home. Our story begins with Henry VII on his deathbed, suffering from tuberculosis. He knows he is dying. The king summons Sir Edmund Overbury to his bedside, commanding Sir Edmund to continue his service into the reign of the new king. Sir Edmund politely refuses, as he wishes to return to his Shropshire estate and retire from public service. Instead, Sir Edmund's eldest son Thomas is summoned to Henry's bedside and knighted by the dying king, who by this time barely had enough strength to raise the ceremonial sword. Later that evening, Henry awakens in extreme discomfort and realizes that death is near. He summons his priests, makes his final confession, and receives the last rites. Henry, who had claimed the crown from Richard III after killing Richard in the Battle of Bosworth Field, confesses that his claim to the crown was weak and that the two princes allegedly incarcerated in the Tower of London had more of a claim to the throne than he did. Upon Henry VII's death, his sole surviving son, Henry, Prince of Wales, immediately was elevated to become King Henry VIII. Before the elder Henry died, he explained to his son the importance of royal spies, like Sir Edmund Overbury, and how his son, now Sir Thomas, was important as well. After gaining the new king's confidence, Sir Thomas quickly becomes Henry's most trusted spy and is assigned a cover job as the royal standard bearer. This hides Sir Thomas in plain sight, yet allows him to continue his espionage. Because Sir Thomas was so successful in spying for the king, he was brought to London along with his wife Joan and assigned accommodations in Greenwich Palace. From there, Lady Joan Overbury becomes a lady-in-waiting to Queen Catherine, which history recognizes as Catherine of Aragon, the first of Henry VIII's 6 wives. Joan quickly becomes the queen's most trusted confidant, being privy to the queen's most intimate secrets. Meanwhile, Henry assigns Sir Thomas to a series of dangerous tasks that prove Thomas's worth to the crown, while at the same time providing Henry with opportunities to take liberties with Lady Joan. After a while, Sir Thomas receives information from his growing spy network that the French, avowed enemies of the Tudors, had developed a new type of warship that concealed cannons behind doors just above the waterline. Sir Thomas cultivated his relationship with a French entrepreneur shipbuilder and was given details about the new warship and how the French Navy planned to use it in battle. Sir Thomas has what 21st century psychologists would label as an eidetic memory. He used his skills to quickly memorize the layout of and blueprints for the French warship. Once he has committed that information to memory, he takes steps to ensure the destruction of the French ship before he sets out on his way back to England. The return to England becomes a spy versus spy adventure, with Sir Thomas ultimately prevailing. Once he returns to the palace, Thomas provides Henry with an overview of the plans for the French warship. Henry immediately sees the advantage of such construction and orders that Sir Thomas oversee the construction of a similar vessel for the English Navy. That ship becomes the Mary Rose, allegedly named for Henry's sister Mary, who was briefly Queen of France and the Tudor Rose. However, historians have been unable to prove the origin of the name and have offered numerous other possibilities. The Mary Rose quickly becomes Henry's favorite within the Navy Royale and his flagship on a sojourn to the European mainland. It is during his time on board the Mary Rose that my story has him declaring his love for the ship, and that if it had been a woman, he would have married her, hence the title. Over the past few minutes, I've provided an overview of The Seventh Wife, the fifth novel in my Lineage series. There are other twists and turns in the story that I have intentionally omitted from this overview. As a point of information, the Lineage series does not have to be read sequentially, as each book is a standalone, perhaps with an Easter egg or two linking it to other books in the series. There are currently 10 books in that series, and the 11th, Take the Long Way Home, is on its way. A release is planned for sometime early in 2025. For Lineage Independent Publishing, I'm Michael Paul Hurd. Thanks for watching.